All right, this is the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions. Coming your WCW, actually NWA technically, but you get the point.
Same
Retro
thing.
retro review series is going to be NWA Starrcade 1984. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, man. Let's get into it. They quoted it the $1 million
Mhm.
challenge on this night. Couple of quick things before we get into it. Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda were both on this card to compete. However, they left and signed contracts with WWF beforehand, so they didn't show yet. They never. It wasn't mentioned which match they were supposed to be in, but they were just supposed to be on the card. And also, a quick thing. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat shortly into 1985 after this left for the WWF because of a dispute with the booker Dusty Rhodes. So I don't know. I don't know what Dusty's doing around there. You and I were talking about it as far as who actually booked the blunder that was the main event. The outcome and everything else is just it was really bad. Let's get into it. November 22nd, 1984. These were still the ones in November.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Greensboro, North Carolina. Bob Caudle and Gordon Soley on commentary once again for Starrcade for this one. So here we go. Let's kick it off for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship. And by the way, Earl Hebner was the referee in this
Hmm.
one. Mike Davis defending the title against Denny Brown. I for a junior heavyweight match, I thought I was expecting fast paced, a lot of action, and instead I got two overweight.
Oh
It
Jesus!
looked like two overweight has been wrestlers that couldn't go more than 2.5 minutes in the bout. That's just to me what this looked like. And I've always said, your card is, it needs a strong opening match as well as a strong closing match. And this opening match to me was just, it was not it, especially when nobody knew really the outcome of what happened. Davis with a back, according to Gordon Soley, once again, suplex, with a back suplex pin on Brown. He got his shoulder up, and Brown actually pinned Davis, but everybody, including the ring announcers, said it was the other way around. Meanwhile, the referee's
Yeah,
the only one that got it right. And Gordon Soley was, well, I guess they're just going to award him the bout anyway. Obviously, dude, his shoulder was up,
I think there
but
was one match. Well,
everybody was confused.
there was one match on it. Was it this match on the card where the announcers are saying like, "Oh, do we have a final on this match? Do we have a?"
Oh, that was the Koloff match.
Okay, it was that match. Yeah.
Because because you actually, if you didn't, if you weren't totally paying attention,
No, I
you'd have to
wasn't.
rewind it. We're being honest.
Yes.
They were more
Yeah.
focused on the outside
Right, right,
as
right.
far as, oh, by the way, there was a pin.
Right,
And I love that. Do we get an outcome in that, or are we
right.
just
Like we're still
Bob
standing by.
Cottle's like, are we just winging it? I'm like, oh man, tell me they didn't
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
brutal. It's brutal.
It was. And of course, this is the same night where after the main event as well, they still have a post game show, but it wasn't as long as
Mm.
Starrcade '83's, and they didn't interview somebody 5 different times. So okay, next match on the card was Brian Adias, excuse me, versus Mr. Ito, and apparently Adias was very well received in Greensboro. They really were
Hmm.
behind him. They loved him. They were enjoying everything he was doing. It also could have been because he was fighting a Japanese wrestler and they just wanted his butt kicked. I
Good
don't
one by
know.
default. The crowd might have been on his side by default. Who knows?
Possibly, yeah. Um, Again, in this era, it's the basic move will get you a pinfall, whereas in this day and age, Roman Reigns' Superman punch has to be done 3 times before you're lucky you get a 3 count. In this case, Adias with the airplane spin and a pin gets you the victory over Mr. Ito. And it was a short match. It was only 4 minutes. Both these two beginning matches were real short. Um, I don't know why they were worried about time. They had plenty of it. But in any event, Brian Diaz gets the win over Mr. Ito in this one. So the next match on the card had a familiar face in it. If nobody was if anybody was uncertain, for the NWA Florida Heavyweight Championship, It was Jesse Barr, who was actually Jimmy Jack Funk,
Hmm. Later on, yeah.
ver- versus challenger Mike Graham. Now, I never understood the actual states having their own title. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I didn't understand it because I know in WCCW or in especially in AWA they had the Texas State Championship as well. Um, I know also they had the Western States Championship, I believe it was in AWA and also in NWA as well. I didn't understand it. But Florida title, maybe because of the territory
The
and then
territory, that's what it was.
that's probably yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Um, so and Mike Graham trying to
Mark
get it
Graham
back.
broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime. That's his famous quote about Jeff Jarrett. So rest in peace, Mike Graham.
Yes, definitely. Rest in peace. Unfortunately, that's what everybody remembers him for, and being an executive in WCW as well for a little
Hmm.
bit of time.
Also, supposedly he was gonna kick Sid's ass. We don't know if that story is true. When Sid pulled out the squeegee and
He
Mike,
couldn't kick Sid's ass if
I
Sid
don't
was
know.
drunk.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said that he grabbed this squeegee from Sid and told him that he was gonna shove it up his ass and Sid back down. I don't know.
Really?
I doubt it because Sid was a big guy,
Wow.
man.
Man, so the
But
stories you hear,
I don't know.
man, we got to find. Somebody interview Sid and ask him that and go, hey, by the way, does
No,
this
he said
really
that didn't
happen?
happen. He said it didn't happen.
I
I saw an
believe him.
interview with him. He said that.
Honestly, I
He said
believe
not
him.
even close.
Look at the size of the two guys. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
In any event, this match I liked. Not only because of Mike Graham, his style, but of course I'm a Funk family fan. If you could say that real fast. Terry, Dory, Jimmy Jack.
Hmm.
All have the same fighting style. Cheat. And I was really surprised they had his name changed. He didn't go by Funk here. That they did the name change. That was weird.
Bro.
Uh,
Hmm.
because they always gone by their
Hmm?
names unless you're Vince McMahon and you make somebody change or Charlie.
We
But
knew it was him though. When it was
yeah,
Funk.
man, you'd have to be really out of it not to know
Oh,
that
but
was Terry
they
Funk.
acknowledged him though. They did say Chainsaw Charlie, but they acknowledged that he was Funk. What?
There was one time Ross on Raw said formerly Terry Funk. I'm like, what
Uh,
did he have a whole change? I mean, what is this? Whatever. I don't know. It worked for the short time, but this match, like I said, it was pretty good. Jesse Barr defending his title. Um, Graham at one point had applied the figure four on Barr in the match to try to win it early by submission, but Barr got to the ropes. He Barr threw Graham into the ref at one point, and he was down briefly. And in the corner, Barr had rolled up Graham with his feet on the rope, and miraculously, the referee came around at that point, and in Funk fashion, cheated to get the victory, and he holds on to his championship. So our next match, well, actually the next segment, I should say, they showed Steamboat and Dick Slater being attacked a while back by Tully Blanchard, Ron Bass, and Black Bart. In Steamboat's match with Blanchard later on, there is actually a $10,000 wager by both men in this match.
mhm.
There's actually going to be two matches now that
A
have
lot of money.
money.
There's a lot of money going around. I think they also beat up beat up Steamboat's brother, I think. I think I remember there was something with his brother that they didn't show it on the pay-per-view, but I think it was leading up to the feud. They had done something.
And what's funny is in the next Starrcade, that little group with JJ Dillon is all going to implode as they're all going to wind up facing each other
Mhm.
in matches. It's gonna get chaotic. But Steamboat is vowing revenge on Tully Blanchard for later on. And now our next match on the card, it was a little bit weird because they didn't exactly do it, at least not right. It was an elimination tag team match. It was Assassin number one and Tyler, excuse me, versus the Zambui Express of Elijah Akeem and Kareem Muhammad.
Mhm.
Now, technically, when one gets eliminated, it becomes a handicap match, where in this case, one got eliminated and the referee just clears the ring. So I don't know if somebody missed the cue on that. And Bob Caudle and Gordon Soley well, I guess the other one was just got automatically eliminated. So we're just going to
But it
go on
was
to our next match here.
what was it? It was a tag elimination match, right?
Yeah.
Like Yeah. So then,
No, it was once one individual gets pinned, then they leave, and it's supposed to be the next one. Because after the elimination, even Gordon Soley had said, now he's got an uphill battle because it's 2 against 1.
go.
Because Assassin number one had actually collided heads with Kareem Muhammad, and he was dangling up against the rope, and Buzz Tyler kind of just pushed him down, and that's how he got the pin on him. And then Elijah Akeem just leaves with Paul Jones because Assassin number one's really trying to get to Paul Jones as well. He just walks out, and it was like, oh, I guess he was just eliminated.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared, including me.
Not. I was trying. Well, I was familiar with Assassin number one. That's why.
No, Assassin number one, I know.
I was kind of into it. The other guys, not so much. The Zambui Express kind of reminded me of the Authors of Pain, Akam and Razor, a little bit of their size and brute force. So, which, by the way, I didn't even know this. WWE signed them back.
Good job, WWE.
Never even knew that. Oh, they're signing everybody at this point. What the hell? So, and actually, Errol Hebner was actually the referee at that point, and then he just raised Tyler and Assassin number one's hand shortly after that pinfall, and that's when Carl and Soli Ragas was just eliminated.
See you.
So, yeah, exactly. Get out of here. This match is stinking up the place. Next up, Tony Schiavone interviewed Dusty Rhodes about his main event title fight later on.
He's just sitting there, going with the trucker hat. It was a good promo, though.
Just calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, it's a good promo.
Oh yeah,
the production was a little bit better too.
Yes,
they had stepped it up a little bit from the.
Well, this was 39 years ago, not 40.
Right, yeah.
So we're getting closer. Yeah,
closer to being able to like actually see.
Yeah,
what's going on? It's very, very dimly lit.
Oh yeah, definitely. There was one camera angle at the end of the night when they showed you the empty ring, where all of a sudden it was nice and lit up.
Right. I think because they turned all the lights on when everybody was leaving, probly.
Yeah, as opposed to when they have the match, they only have the selected lights over the ring.
Didn't look good.
I always hated that when you watch the house shows from WWF in the late '80s, early '90s on
the lighting
MSG.
It's terrible.
Oh man, it's like it's really dark. But if you go there.
No, it's fine.
It's totally different, yeah.
Yeah.
So our next match on the card was for and I didn't even know I didn't even know this was a championship. The NWA Brass Knuckles title.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no belt. I didn't see no belt, no brass knuckles, no anything. It was Black Bart defending it against one half of the tag team champions, Manny Fernandez.
Yeah, because he's tagged with Dusty. He's the tag champion.
Yeah, and at one point also remember he was tagged with Rick Rude. Manny Fernandez,
that's right.
Multiple time tag champion. Yeah. Manny Fernandez is a really good wrestler. I did like him.
No, he was a good wrestler. He kind of became Dusty Jr. though, because he kind of like the way he started him. He did, yeah. The promos, right? You could see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But during this match, and of course, this was pretty much a no DQ match. If it's for brass knuckles, it better be. Fernandez actually was busted open as well as Black Bart later on in the contest. J.J. Dillon, this is where it messed up for Black Bart. J.J. Dillon had thrown Bart the kind of, I guess, the bull rope or whatever. And at the same time, Fernandez rolled him up with a pin and kind of used the leverage of the rope on him as well. So Manny Fernandez gets the victory and wins the championship. Got to be real happy to be Brass Knuckles champion. But title's a title, hey. But Manny Fernandez, I guess you could say, is a two title man. Manny 2 belts.
Yeah.
Or Manny 1 belt and Brass Knuckles. I don't know. So next on the docket was they showed the ending of, and this is what really aggravated me too, when they said, okay, now we have a 7-minute intermission, and then later on, okay, now we have a 10-minute intermission. And I'm like, dude, just let's go. I mean, come on. But in this case, they showed the ending of the Starrcade 83 with Flair and Harley Race. And then plus Tony Schiavone interviewed Ricky Steamboat. Again, Steamboat had put $10,000 up against Tully Blanchard's $10,000 as well as the title. And This is what was funny though when he was being interviewed. I don't know if you caught this. Steamboat had said that his ribs are hurting, but he doesn't want Blanchard to know.
Well, now he knows.
Exactly. Then why are you saying it in an interview, dude? I mean, I don't want him to know. Shh, shh, shh. Let's keep this between us.
All right. Well, I guess maybe he figured, well, Blanchard's not, he doesn't have a closed circuit TV in his locker room, so he won't know. I don't know.
No, but Tony Schiavone interviewed him next and mentioned the bruised ribs.
Oh,
So I was like, you
wait, so
know,
Tony ratted him out?
no, he had said that going into the match, he's not 100%. His ribs are bruised, and that's when Blanchard kind of put a smirk on his face, and I'm like, oh god. If he didn't know before, he knew now. But yeah, he interviewed Blanchard and JJ Dillon about the upcoming match. Our next match on the card was it was a little confusing to me because it's a tuxedo street fight. Now, normally under tuxedo rules, the first one to get stripped
Mm-hmm.
loses. In this case, that wasn't the case because the person got stripped and the match still kept going. So I guess it was more under street fight rules than it was
Right.
tuxedo rules. And then, of course, the loser had to leave town in this match. Gotta love that stuff, man. Newsflash: the guy that lost is in the next Starrcade, and then the next Starrcade.
He got
So
reinstated, I guess.
it was Paul Jones and Jimmy Valiant,
Yep.
Mr. Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown.
Even as Jimmy Valiant still acting the way he was, I still loved it. And Paul Jones to me was always he always portrayed the ass, and I couldn't stand him there. And obviously, if you boo him or you cheer him, they're doing something right. So Paul Jones is doing something great because I can't stand this guy. And so he had Valiant had him stripped down, and they're like, well, maybe we're gonna have to go to a break or something if this match goes any further because he's down pretty much now to his underwear. And this is 1984. This is stuff they really don't put on TV. Now, one of the members of the Zambui Express was down at ringside for Paul Jones and was distracting Valiant, and Valiant was going after them. And obviously, during that too, the ref went down. Go figure. And also, Assassin number one was in his corner. Valiant and Assassin one kept attacking the Zambui Express. JJ Dillon at this point had come in, hit Valiant in the head with a foreign object, and Paul Jones gets the pin. So Jimmy Valiant, see ya. You're out as of right now. And that SOB Paul Jones is still here. Yeah, I know. But like I said, Valiant is in the next Starrcade, so have no fear. So next on there, with Tony Schiavone interviewed the Nature Boy Ric Flair about the upcoming main event against Dusty Rhodes. Flair seemed more Flair-like now
a little
than he
closer
did
to
a
Flair
year ago.
yeah.
And of course, the robe he wore that night was also pretty cool. But yeah, this was the Nature Boy, not the guy we saw a year ago that were like, who is this dude? So next match on the card, there were a lot of them on this one.
Mm-hmm.
For the NWA just wait until the next Starrcade. They have it in 2 locations, and they keep flip-flopping like WrestleMania. Oh, not like WrestleMania 2. What they did there, obviously, is they had the whole card.
By one, yeah.
Then they went to this one flip-flops.
Which made more sense.
Constantly, yeah. So that's going to be interesting to do. But for this one, for the NWA Mid-Atlantic title, Ron Bass defending the title against Dirty Dick Slater. Or just Dick Slater, whatever. It didn't matter. This match was pretty much a grudge match in itself, and this was a really good match. I liked Ron Bass more in NWA than I did when he went to WWF, because in WWF, all they did was shave his head and send the packet.
Yeah.
They did nothing with him. And he
was there for like 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
He
had a feud with Beefcake, shaves his head.
That was the big feud with Beefcake, yeah.
Does a Survivor Series, out the door. I mean, he wasn't there that long. And so, now Slater, for the most part, he had this match in the palm of his hands. The problem was Slater pushed the referee aside when they were in the corner, and that's what disqualified him. Took the referee a minute to compose himself, and then, oh, by the way, I'm going to disqualify you. And at this point, even though J.J. Dillon had gotten in the ring and attacked Slater, Slater's still the one that gets disqualified, and
Hmm.
Ron Bass wins and keeps the championship. And then, of course, after the match, Dick Slater attacked Bass and Dillon. So here we go, just like last year's Starrcade.
After the match,
Unfinished
yeah.
business. As soon as the bell goes, we're still going to go at it. So nothing has been resolved there, but Ron Bass is still the champion. So next match on the card was another one that I liked only because I liked the individual. You had Ole Anderson, nah, not him, and Keith Larson, the brother of Don Kernoodle, facing the Koloffs, Ivan and Nikita. Of course,
Hmm.
you have a former WWF champion in this one, and Ivan Koloff. And you have what should have been at one point an NWA champion, Nikita Koloff, but that never happened. So Nikita's the one I really like. Tons of talent there, upper body strength. I mean, the guy had it
Hmm.
all. Just the gimmick. The gimmick was okay, but Ivan to me was a guy that was still trying to hang on to his youth at this point. He was a second too slow. He was a wrestler predominantly of the 70s.
Hmm.
So anybody was still trying to hang on with his nephew here. So they had injured Don Kernoodle, which is out there. I love it. He's got the crutches, but
Yeah, he's all
got the
messed
neck brace,
up, and
and he can barely walk. But when the match was over, man, he was whooping everybody's ass like he was
yeah.
Rey Mysterio going through that ring.
There was
It's
a thing with
amazing.
there was this thing with his family too, leading up to it, where his dad was talking, and something happened leading up to this. The whole family was involved.
With the Koloffs.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, hey, we've seen it with the little kid and Sting on the Clash with Nikita. They'll go as far as in a storyline to make it personal. So
So
it's well documented
these guys,
especially Ivan.
it's USA versus Russia. It was the '80s Cold War.
Yeah, and you got Ole Anderson in this as well. So and of course he's getting the USA chant
Hmm.
going. Towards the end of the bout, Nikita Koloff clotheslined Kanoodle outside. He snuck up behind him. Now, at this point, the referee was distracted with Ole Anderson and Nikita on the outside, um, trying to break that up. Meanwhile, in the ring, Ivan goes and grabs the chain, hits Larson with it, and gets the pin. And this is where they didn't know there was a pin. And it was like, do we even
Right,
have a
right, right,
decision
right, right,
here?
right. They didn't know what the ending was.
Because they were focused on Ole and Nikita. And so afterwards, the Koloffs were double teaming on Larson, beating him down, beating him like a dog. Canoodle, this is where all of a sudden I'm
Yeah,
cured.
yeah, he had no. He just had enough. It was adrenaline dump. He had enough.
Yep, and he
So
went
that's
in
it.
there and he broke his crutch over
Yep.
both of them. He just had it, and he cleared the ring of the Koloffs
Hmm.
because now his brother is victim to
Hmm.
to these guys. So, but it was a really good match, and again, seeing Ole Anderson as a fan favorite is weirder than
It
seeing
is.
Ric
It is.
Flair.
Looking back, yeah, yeah.
But hell of a fighter
That
though.
was good.
Hmm. Next match on the card was for the NWA Television Championship and for $20,000 on the line total. Tully Blanchard defending the title against Ricky Steamboat.
Yep.
And this was a really good match. I enjoyed it. Always loved seeing Steamboat in the
Oh
ring,
yeah.
especially back then in his prime.
Hmm.
Blanchard had gotten busted open during this match. Of course, Steamboat's making this personal. Um, Steamboat went for a sunset flip, and Blanchard was fighting it. He pulls out a foreign object right in front of the referee, hits Steamboat with it, puts it back into his trunks, and pins Steamboat all in front of the referee. And the referee is just like, duh.
It wasn't
I
no
didn't.
DQ. It wasn't no DQ.
No, it was just a straight up
No.
match. If Blanchard got disqualified, he lost the title.
Oh, okay. Oh,
It was
that's what it was.
if he
Right,
got
right, right.
disqualified or if he ran
Yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
So he took a big chance doing that in front of the referee, and the referee's just like right there. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand this. Very good match. Didn't like the ending, but the feud's not over
No.
between these two. They still got the story to tell. But Blanchard keeps the NWA Television
Damn
Championship.
it.
I know. Hey, next Starrcade is going for the U.S.
Mm.
title. This man loves title matches. Speaking of the U.S. title, this was a match that I was describing of two guys 5 years out of their prime, did not belong, and they one looked great, one didn't, but they both wrestled like shit. And I'm talking about for the NWA United States Championship, Wahoo McDaniel defending the title against superstar Billy Graham.
Oh Lord. Well, thank God this was a short match though.
Dude, it wasn't
It's like
short
there's like
enough.
three moves. It was like how many moves was it? It's like three moves? Something like that?
And look how Billy
I
Graham
think, yeah.
looks. I
But he
mean,
was
he
jacked. He
really
was still jacked though.
he
He couldn't
was,
move. He couldn't move anymore,
look
Billy
how
Graham.
he was, how he looked in '84, and then how he looked when he was supposed to be on the Survivor Series team
Yeah.
in '87. Totally different.
Well, he was already
I,
completely broken down at that point. But
and this was where the start of it came
and he had just
because,
shown up, right? Because he had just left, I
mhm,
think. He had left WWF.
yeah, former WWF champion. He's the
Or
one that lost the title.
WWF, I think.
Yeah,
Right?
whatever. Lost the title to Bob Backlund back in '77. That started Backlund's long 5-year reign, um, or '78 rather, I should say. But I mean, they said he's got the 23-inch
hmm
pythons, and I'm like, that's right, because somebody else has the 24.
Yeah.
Get it? Make sure you're not
hmm
trying to get in on
Infringe.
that. He looks great. Wahoo McDaniel looks like he should have retired already. Wins the match with a regular chop to the chest. Caudle and Soley tried to say, "Oh, it was his tomahawk chop." No, it wasn't. It was just a chop to the chest, and he pins him.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, I mean, I don't know what was going on with Billy Graham with the whole
Well, it was
martial
karate. He
arts.
was like Kung Fu Billy Graham or whatever he was doing.
Yeah, it didn't work, especially when he tried to do a move and he looks great. $1 million body, 10-cent moves.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and I was actually looking forward to seeing this match because
Yeah, well, that was a
you you don't
disappointment.
you don't really get to see Billy Graham matches unless there's a cut on the network. They have a thing called WWF Old School. They do have some from the '70s
Yeah.
where he is on it, so that's the only thing you really get to
And he
see
inspired
him
Hogan.
on,
He inspired
unless you
Hogan
get
too.
to on YouTube. Yeah, he did
Yeah.
definitely. Mr. Tie Dye helped Don Morocco at the point where his
hmm
career was pretty much over.
Yeah.
Turned him at the wrong time, fan favorite, unfortunately. But yeah, I was really looking forward to this match, and it was just like, what the hell did I just witness? And doing this as the undercard to the main event, you should
I
have
guess
had
they had
this
to
as
get to
the
the main event. I guess that's what it was. I guess time was running out. They're like, all right,
4 minutes,
guys.
18 seconds. It
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like they had an Iron Man match. Ugh,
Jesus.
I know. So after that, Tony interviewed Kiyomuka. They
Kiyomuka.
interviewed Duke Kiyomuka, Kyle Perry, and the special guest referee Joe Frazier, who was
Smoking Joe
also
Frazier.
one of the judges. They had the 3 judges. Now, the reason for that is the special stipulation. If the match went beyond the time limit of 1 hour, then they would be the judges
They
would
would go
then
to scorecards.
vote
They
to
would go to
see.
the
Yeah,
scorecards. Yeah, yeah. Like a boxing match.
trust me, this match only went 12 minutes. They didn't
But what the
need.
hell? Why the hell was Frazier in there then? That was
I don't know.
no, we'll get into it. We'll get
This
into
whole
it.
thing pissed me off. So here we go. For the NWA Championship with the special guest referee Joe Frazier and $1 million on the line, Ric Flair defending the title against the American Dream,
hmm
Dusty Rhodes. And this match was pretty good. Early
It
on,
was.
Dusty puts the figure 4
Yeah.
on
It was a
Flair.
fun. This was a fun match. The
It
entrances and
was,
everything. It's a shame they lost the rights to, or they don't have the rights to a lot of the music
yeah,
because
they just put in
it just
some
ruins.
generic
Yeah,
stuff.
because I think Dusty Rhodes came out to Purple Rain. I think it came out to Purple Rain Prince.
I
I
think
think.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So.
The match really hit the toilet when Flair threw Rhodes on the outside into the
hmm
post. He busted or he bladed, whatever.
I'm sure he bladed himself.
His eye was really bad. He was bleeding profusely all over. Now, here's the other thing that bothered me, even before that. I don't know if you caught this. When Dusty Rhodes was trying to suplex Ric Flair back into the ring, Frazier had his hands all over him as to say, you can't do that. And I'm like, bro, why are you constantly touching him? Why
I
are
don't
you
know.
getting involved in this?
Man,
And then,
but this is what happens when you have a guy that's not a wrestler, doesn't have experience in there as a
exactly.
as a
And then when he suplexed him and it turned into a pin, his count, 1, 2. I'm like, what are we, are you on Flair's payroll at this point? Is
No,
this
I
what we're
don't.
doing here?
I don't think it was necessarily that, but I understand what you're saying.
So now once he got busted open, Frazier was all over him, constantly trying to keep Flair back, and Flair wasn't even.
He's
Flair
looking
was
at
in
the
the other
cut.
corner,
Yeah,
and
he's
he's
looking at the
still.
cut. Yeah.
And he did this on two different occasions, and finally he goes to Duke Kiyomuka. Didn't want to get the last name wrong, and he stops the fight.
So waved it off like a boxing match. This is not boxing.
This is not
So
boxing,
you had a
and
great,
Dusty was pissed.
yeah, you had a good match, and you had
We built this up for a
a
year.
good build up, yeah, and then for it to, and Dusty's the booker this time, so you have to assume that he's the one who booked this ending. It's just stupid.
I don't know
So it's
why.
just dumb. And then you have the aftermath, right?
You notice the trend here. They do stupid shit at
Yeah,
Starrcade.
yeah. So I
And
mean, it
that
just kind of ruined what could have been a great main event. I guess they wanted to continue to feud, and the thinking was, well, we can. I don't know. I don't agree with it.
well, they do fight again at the
Right,
following
yeah.
one.
So I guess that's why they did it. And
Now, if this
Dusty's
was
pissed.
a
He's threatening to
oh,
beat up Frazier, which I'm pretty sure Frazier will whip his ass
he was
if
trying
the
to
king.
get Frazier in the ring. A bunch of
Yeah,
wrestlers
but
came
it was good.
down.
I mean, I guess it was good with Dusty. You know, Dusty was angry. I like
Dusty
Dusty's
even
promo.
he challenged Frazier. Now,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah.
where I thought, okay, possibly maybe they're going to do a work with Frazier
Right.
that Dusty is going to face him at an event coming the
Mhm.
following year because he challenged
Doesn't.
him and then he said, Flair,
Yeah.
this ain't no victory.
Right. Yeah. So
He was
you know,
irate. Never seen
okay.
Dusty this pissed before on an interview.
So yeah, it doesn't really go anywhere. Flair saying it's not my fault, basically, right? That's what I'm paraphrasing. Flair was like,
And
well,
he's
that's
holding the
what it
million
was.
dollar check.
Yeah. So he won. That's all that matters. Kind of a disappointing Starrcade.
Yes.
You know, could have been better. The ending, I didn't.
The main event they just shit all over
Yeah.
the whole night.
I agree. But there you go. Well, that's our review. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.